A juicy murder in Act 1. Unexpected developments in Act 2. Sound construction, good dialogue. Laughs in the right places. Highly commercial.
Why, that's wonderful, darling. I'm so happy for you, for both of us.
Happy? Why on earth happy?
But it's yours, isn't it? The idea you had in August.
The idea I had in August has gone the way of the idea I had in June, and the idea I had in whenever it was before then, in the fireplace, up the chimney, and out over Fairfield County. Pollution in its most grisly form. This arrived in the mail this morning. It's the property of one Clifford Anderson. He was one of the twerps at the seminar. Dear Mr. Brule, I hope you don't mind my sending you my play, Deathtrap, which I finished retyping at 2 o'clock this morning. Since I couldn't have written it without the inspiration of your own work and the guidance and encouragement you gave me last summer, I thought it only fitting that you should be the first person to read it. If you find it 1/10 as good as any of your own thrillers, I'll consider my time well spent and the fee for the seminar more than adequately recompensed.
That's nice.
No, it isn't. It's fulsome. Please excuse the carbon copy. The local Xerox machine is on the fritz. And I couldn't stand the thought of waiting a few days to send my firstborn child off to its spiritual father. My italics. His emetics. I hope you'll call or write as soon as you've read it. And let me know whether you think it's worthy of submitting to... etc., etc. Son of a bitch, even types well. I think I remember him enormously obese. A glandular condition, 400 pounds. I wonder where he got my address.
From the university?
Ah, yeah, of course.
Is it really that good? First play?
Can't miss. A gifted director couldn't even hurt it. It'll run for years. The stock and amateur rights will feed and clothe generations of Andersons. Easily be picked up for a movie. George C. Scott, Liv Ullman.
And Trish Van der Veer.
Yeah. There's a part in it for her, too. The damn thing is perfect.
I should think you'd be proud that one of your students has written a saleable play.
For the first time in 11 years of marriage, darling, drop dead.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm reeling with envy. I'd like to beat the wretch over the head with that mace there. Bury him in a 400-pound hole somewhere. And send the thing off under my own name to David Merrick or Hal Prince. Now that's the best idea I've had in ages.
My poor Sydney.
I mean, what's the point in owning a mace if you don't use it once in a while?
Get an idea of your own any day now, and it'll turn into a better play than that one.
Don't bet on it, not that you have any money to bet with.
We're doing very nicely in that department. Not one creditor beating at the door.
Really? But for how long? I've just about cleaned you out now.
We cleaned me out, and it's been joy and delight every bit of the way. Your next play will simply have to be a terrific smash.
Thank you, that's just what I need. An easing of the pressure.
Why don't you call it to Merrick's attention, and maybe you could get a commission of some kind.
A finder's fee,
Well, that's what it's called.
Great and glorious 1%, maybe 1.5%.
Or better yet, why don't you produce it yourself? You've been involved in enough productions to know how to do it, and it might be a beneficial change of pace.
Darling, I may be devious and underhanded enough to be a successful murderer, but not, I think, a Broadway producer. I mustn't overestimate one's talents.
Collaborate with him. Isn't there room for improvement in the play, good as it is? The professional touch, a little reshaping and sharpening.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
I'm sure he'd be thrilled at the chance to work.
We'd split 50-50.
And you get top billing.
Naturally. Reverse alphabetical order, dear boy. It's done all the time.
On the basis of who you are.
Sydney Four Flops Brew.
Sydney, author of the murder game, Brew.
Oh, God, yeah, the murder game. I remember that one. Back in the time of King Arthur, wasn't it?
Not quite that long ago.
18 years now. 18 years. Each one flying faster than the one before. Nothing recedes like success. Hey, that's a good one, isn't it? Maybe I could work that in someplace. Recedes is EDE, isn't it?
Yes. You see, you would improve it.
Give it the inimitable Sydney Brew flavor. Close in Boston.
Call him now. Where does he live?
Up in Milford. You don't like the mace idea, huh?
No, definitely not. Blood on the carpet. And the next day, Helga Tyndall would be picking up the psychic vibrations.
In Holland? I doubt it very much.
What were you smoking Friday night when the rest of us were smoking grass? She's taken the McBain cottage for 6 months. Paul Wyman is doing a book with her. He was impersonating her for 15 minutes.
Ah, I thought he was finally coming out of the closet.
You see what a fine murderer you'd be. Helga Tyndall moves in practically on your doorstep, and you manage not to hear about it.
That does give one pause.
Well, it certainly should. Nan and Tom Weston had it at dinner last week. She told Tom about his backaches and the money he put into silver and his father's thing for tall women. She warned Nan that au pair girl was going to leave, which she did 2 days later. And she found a set of keys Nan lost in 1969. They were under the clothes dryer.
She's in the McBain cottage?
Right over yonder, picking up our blips on her radar this minute, looks like.
Well, it seems Mr. Anderson has himself a collaborator. Not that I really believe in ESP.
Well, the police in Europe seem to. That's half of why she's here. She's supposed to be resting from pointing at murderers.
Just a minute now, the fat one didn't stay the full week. And his name was Quinn, or Quincy. Anderson. I wonder if he's the one with the awful stammer.
Easy way to find out.
Yeah. This may be a 3-hour conversation. It's busy. Probably talking to Merrick. What's for dinner?
Salmon.
Again?
Yes. Sydney, would you actually kill someone to have another successful play?
Don't be foolish, darling. Of course I would. Spoken in jest, Miss Tyndall.
It's Mrs. She's divorced.
No wonder. Who could stay married to a woman with ESP? Oh, don't fix me with that basilisk stare. Whatever a basilisk happens to be. Would you like to go into Sardis again? Secure in the knowledge that we're not going to be seated in the kitchen? Do you know what that play could net its author in today's market? $2 million. That's not including the Deathtrap t-shirts. That isn't a reasonable motive for murder. I'd like to know what is. I wish you hadn't told me about her. Here we go. Hello, is this Clifford Anderson? Sydney Brew? Not the stammerer. Yes, as a matter of fact, I have. I finished it about 15 minutes ago, and I must tell you, in all sincerity, that you have an enormously promising first draft. I was just saying to my wife, Myra, that if you give it the reshaping it needs, point it up in the right places, working some laughs, it'll be right up with Sleuth and The Murder Game and Dial M. It has the makings, as we say. Yes, I should think it would be. Oh, I know that feeling so well. I thought The Murder Game was finished the first time round, and then someone with much more experience in the theatre took it in hand and revised it with me. Improved it tremendously, I don't mind admitting. George S. Kaufman. No, he didn't take credit, though. God knows I urged him to, because he was badly in debt at the time, and, well, you know, I mean, he didn't want it known that he had a share of the royalties. But look, I could be quite wrong about this. What sort of reaction have you had from other people? Really? No one at all? That's very flattering. But surely someone must have read it. Your wife? Your friends? Some of the people who were at the seminar? Oh, I see. That sounds ideal. Complete isolation. And all you have to do is check the thermostat and water the plants. I'm surprised you've written only one play since July. They've tossed off 2 or 3 by now. Yes, I am a marvelous thriller. It's about a woman with ESP, based on Helga Tendorf. You know the Dutch psychic? She's a neighbor of ours. It's called The Frowning Wife. Now, that's only a working title, of course. I'll have to go on something jazzier than that. I love Deathtrap, incidentally, the title, as well as the play. Or the promising first draft, I should say. Yes, I have. Far too many to give you over the phone. Perhaps we could get together sometime and go through the manuscript, scene by scene. I'm free this evening, as a matter of fact. Why don't you drive down? It's not very far. Oh, I see. Well, why don't you take the train down? And I'll pick you up at the Westport station and run you over. Actually, it would be better that way, anyway. You'd have a devil of a time finding us. We're way off in the woods. Have to send out flares when we're expecting people. Do, I'll hold on. His car is in for repairs. He's house sitting for a couple who are in Europe. Unmarried.
Do you think he'll be open to the idea of collaborating?
Yeah, I think he might. Was George S. Kaufman still alive? Hello? No, that's a bit early. Where's the next one? Oh, no, that's far too late. Look, let's make it the 7:29 then, and there's an 11:00 something from New York that sure stops at Milford. You won't have any problem at all getting back home. Would you bring the original with you? The carbon's a bit hard on these weary old eyes. Good, thank you. I'll see you at 7:29 then. Oh, and Terence, you don't mind if I call you Terence, do you? Why? Oh my God, Clifford, of course, Clifford. Clifford, I may be a tiny bit late. I have some errands to run, so just wait by the station, and I'll be along eventually in a navy blue Mercedes. Yes. Goodbye. I think he's the one without obvious defects.
What errands do you have to run?
Didn't you say something about library books, picking them up and dropping them off?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I thought you did. The Xerox machine has been fixed, but he decided to wait a few days longer in case I had any small suggestions to make. No one else has read it. No one even knows he's been working on it.
And no one will see you picking him up.
Yeah. The thought did cross my mind. I'm so in the habit of planning crimes on paper.
Why did you tell him to bring the original copy?
You heard me, the carbon is a strain. We should have 2 copies to go through. I don't want him leaning over my shoulder for 2 hours, exhaling cheeseburger.
Well, he probably has another carbon copy filed away. Somewhere.
More than likely. And all his notes and outlines, early drafts. Opening night of my dazzling triumph, his grey-haired mother comes down the aisle, accompanied by the Milford and Westport police departments. Hello? Lottie, how are you? No, darling, I don't think I will. I've got an idea I'm working on and I don't want to lose touch with it. It's in the embryo stage. But Myra might want to. Hold on a second. We're going to see the French thing at Fine Arts too. I can drop you off on the way.
No, I don't want to see it. Not tonight.
Lottie, Myra will pass too. She's a bit under the weather. Give us a report on it tomorrow, will you? Have fun, darling. Goodbye. You don't have to stand guard over me. I only kill when the moon is full.
Why did you lie just now? Why didn't you tell her someone is coming to see you?
Is it their business? I don't know why I lied. I'm just a liar.
The moon was full last night. Except for a sliver down near the bottom.
Really? Well, I shall just have to exercise massive self-control. Remind myself of that other carbon copy, which almost certainly exists.
It's not for that, Sidney, would you? Could you?
Probably not. Probably I'd chicken out. Even if he's the tiny one. They say that committing murder on paper siphons off the hostile impulses, and I'm sure it does. At the same time, it opens one to the idea of committing real murder, gives it the familiar feel of a possibility worth considering, just as owning a weapon and handling it opens one, however slightly, to the idea of using it. But there's a world of difference between a paper victim and a real one. Now I'm sure Mr. Anderson will go home tonight in the same state of health in which he arrived, manuscript clutched in tiny, or huge, or relatively normal hand.
He will jump for the chance to collaborate with you, and afterwards you will do a play that is all your own.
Yeah, I'm sure I shall, sooner or later.
Maybe you could do something based on Helga Tendorf, but not called The Frowning Wife.
The Smiling Wife. A cheerful, up kind of thriller. Hey, you know, there could be an idea in this. A playwright who's undergoing a dry period is sent a newly hatched play by a twerp who attended his seminar. It's a possible opening, isn't it? If the play is obviously commercial and the playwright has a room full of weapons.
Put it in your notebook.
Yeah, I will. Pity's got the title. Deathtrap. It was built in 1794, but they were out of dimes at the hardware store. So I backdated it 10 years. It's a beautiful house. Historical Society, I'm kidding.
Hello.
Ah, this is Clifford Anderson, yeah. My wife, Myra.
Oh, hello. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Well, come in. I was beginning to worry.
Yeah, watch out for the beam.
Oh, still an authentic colonial by the visitor's bruised foreheads.
The room you work in.
How did you guess?
Well, the typewriter and all these posters. Is that the mace that was used in Murderous Child?
Yeah. And the dagger is from the murder game.
Careful, it's sharp. The
Trick 1 was substituted in Act 2.
The axe from In for the Kill.
Yeah.
I can't understand why that play didn't run.
Critics peeing on it might be the answer.
The train must have been late. Was it?
No, Mr. Brule was. The train was on time.
Yeah, I had to get gas, and Frank insisted on fondling the spark plugs.
Do you know that Gunpoint was the first play that I ever saw?
Yeah.
I had an aunt living in New York. I came in on the train one Saturday by myself, another first from Hartford. She took me to the matinee. I was 12 years old.
If you're trying to depress me, you've made it.
Oh, I'm sorry. But that's how I got hooked on thrillers.
Angel Street did it for me.
Bella, where is that grocery bill, huh? What have you done with it, you poor, wretched creature? I was 15.
It sounds like a disease being passed from generation to generation.
It is a disease. Thrilleritis malignis. The fevered pursuit of the one-set, five-character moneymaker.
I'm not pursuing money. Not that I wouldn't like to have some, so I could have a place like this to work in. But that isn't the reason I wrote Deathtrap.
You're still an early case.
It's not a disease. It's a tradition. A superbly challenging theatrical framework in which every possible variation seems to have been played. Well, could I contemplate once? Can I startle an audience that's been on Angel Street, that's dialed them for murder, that's witnessed the prosecution, that's played the murder game?
Lovely speech. Thanks for saving me for last.
I was coming to salute.
I'm glad I stopped you.
So am I. I'm a little euphoric about all that's happening.
As well you should be.
Yeah.
Would you like something to drink?
Oh, yes, please. Do you have some ginger ale?
With me? Scotch?
No, darling. I think I'll have ginger ale too.
These aren't all different plays, are they?
God, no, I haven't written that many.
Friends give me things now, and I prowl the antique shops.
There's a disease.
Yeah. And a super excuse for not working. I found this in Ridgefield the other day. 18th century journals. As you can see, I'm taking very good care of my spiritual child. Lock and key.
No, I've got the original here.
Thank God. I should really be wearing my glasses, but my doctor told me the longer I can do without them, the better off I am. Here you are. Oh, no, there you are.
It's not a binder for the Xeroxing.
Makes no, never mind.
I've got the first draft here, too. There's a scene between Diane and Carlo in Act 1 that I may have been wrong to cut. And the Diane and Richard scene starts earlier, before they know Carlo is back.
Did you do several drafts?
Just the one. It's a mess, but I think you'll be able to decipher it if you'd like to look at those two scenes.
I would, by all means. I had a feeling there was a Diane and Carlo scene that was seen before the murder.
Yeah, I was afraid the act would run too long.
Thank you. What else have you got in there?
Oh, just the outline, which I departed from considerably. I made it the way you suggested, a page per scene, loose leaf. Some lines I jotted down and never got a chance to use.
Threw away the ones you did use, as you used them.
Yes.
Same way I work.
Everything was in the one envelope, so I just read. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
It's a 2-hour walk to the station, so I had to leave right after we talked.
2 hours?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I walk longer than that. I'm one writer who's not going to get flabby. I work out with weights every morning. Do you know I came this close to making the Olympic decathlon team?
Really?
Well, this close.
I'll be careful not to argue with you. I'm on the Olympic sloth team. Gold medal, fall asleep in any position.
Deathtrap!
Deathtrap.
Deathtrap! It'll be toasted with more than ginger ale someday. If Sidney is right about it, and I'm sure he is.
So, I toasted with beer the other night.
We have some to rub.
Oh, no, this is fine. Thank
Are
you.
you planning to stay in here?
Yes.
You don't think I overdid the set description, do you? All the exact locations for each piece of furniture?
The set description? I don't remember anything wrong with that. No, this is absolutely perfect. Couldn't be better. I must say, you type beautifully. Electric?
No, I can't see electric typewriters. If it's a power battery, you can't work.
Well, that's the whole point in owning one. No, the real trouble with them, I find, with Zenobia here at any rate, is that you can only make one decent carbon. The second carbon is so muddy as to be almost illegible. You don't have that problem.
Sidney has some wonderful ideas for improving the play, Mr. Anderson.
Oh, I'm sure he does. I'm looking forward to hearing them.
Don't you do that in the living room, dear?
Well, there's no good work light in there.
I seem to recall a paisley chair with a light beside it. Bright enough for the engraving of Bibles on pinheads.
It's too bright and the chair is too low.
Darling, this is the first person to read it. I'm sure he'd prefer our discussion to be private, wouldn't you? Don't be embarrassed to say so.
No, I don't mind Mrs. Brule being here. In fact, I like it. It makes me feel a little less as if I've been summoned to the principal's office.
I'm sorry if I awe you.
Well, you do. All those plays and the things you say. I never thought of calling my typewriter anything but Smith Corona.
As long as it answers.
You're welcome to read the play too, Mrs. Brule, if you like it.
I would.
I'm curious to know how women are going to react to Diane's decision about the gun.
Oh, well, Sidney told me a little about it at dinner, but he stopped with the surprises. I don't even know who kills who.
Good, you should. I think that was the trouble with Murderer's Child, if you'll forgive me for saying so. Right from the opening curtain, it was so obvious that Dr. Mannheim was going to bash poor Teddy. He didn't leave any room for doubt. I mean, the audience should suspect, yes, but they shouldn't be absolutely certain, should they? Doesn't that tend to diminish the suspense?
Yeah. You may have a point there. I wish you'd mentioned on the phone you wanted Myra to read it. I'd have told you to bring along another carbon. She could be reading it right now while we have our talk.
Oh, I didn't know Miss Brule would be interested. And anyway, I don't have one.
You don't have another carbon?
No. I only made the one. Well, I thought it'd be Xeroxing the original as soon as I was through.
Of course. There's no need for 2 or 3 anymore in the age of Xerox.
Mrs. Brule could read this copy, and we could pass the pages back and forth, or I could sit next to you.
Wait, let me think. I want to think for a moment.
Mr. Anderson, Sidney is bursting with creative ideas about your play. I've never seen him so enthusiastic. Now, he gets plays in the mail, very often finished plays that are ready for production, supposedly, from his agent, from producers, from aspiring playwrights. And usually he just laughs and sneers and says the most disparaging things you could possibly imagine. I know he could improve your play tremendously. He could turn it into a hit that would run for years and years and make more than enough money for everyone concerned.
Is that what you meant by I'll be quiet?
I won't be quiet. I'm going to say something that's been on my mind ever since your phone conversation. It's very wrong to expect Sidney to give you the fruit of his years of experience, his hard-won knowledge, without any quid pro quos if the seminar was still in session. It's very wrong of you to offer to give it to him. Now, I am the one in this household whose feet are on the ground and whose eye is on the checkbook. Now, I'm going to make a suggestion to you, Sidney. It's going to come as a shock to you, but I want you to give it your grave and thoughtful and earnest consideration. Will you do that? Will you promise to do that for me? Put aside the play you're working on. Yes, put aside the play about murderers and peas under clothes dryers. Just put it aside, Sidney, and help Mr. Anderson with his play. Collaborate with him. Now that's what I'm suggesting, and that's what I think is the fair and sensible and rational thing to do in this situation. Death Deathtrap by Clifford Anderson and Sidney Brule. Oh, and I suppose Mr. Anderson feels that in deference to your age and reputation, it should be the other way around.
Boy, that is a shocker. Put aside the drowning wife.
I thought it was frowning.
Frowning? No. What kind of a title would that be? No. The drowning wife is what I'm calling it at the moment. It has these women's liberal terms, plus the ESP. It's such a timely play.
Oh, but it will keep Sydney. People are always interested in psychics who can point at someone and say, this man murdered that man, now just put it aside, please. Do for Mr. Anderson what George S. Kaufman did for you.
Yes. Yes, that is enormously persuasive, Myra. How's he grab you?
Oh. Wow. Suddenly feel as if I'm on the spot.
You are, really. Myra has put you there. She's put us both there.
I thought it should be brought up now before anything was done.
Yeah. Quite right, quite right. Well, what is your reaction to it?
Well, first of all, I'm overwhelmed. Really honored and staggered that Sidney Brule would ever consider putting aside one of his ways to work with me on mine. I mean, there I was sitting in that theater when I was 12 years old, and who would think that someday I'd be standing here weighing a chance to work with the...
We get the gist of this passage.
It's a golden opportunity that I'm sure I should seize with both hands.
Good, yes.
But the thing is, it's as if I went to a doctor, one of the world's leading specialists, and he recommended surgery. Well, even with my respect for his eminence and his experience, I'd still want to get a second opinion, wouldn't I? I'm sure your ideas are terrific, but, well, you're right, Mrs. Brule. It would be fair if even now have some sort of understanding or arrangement. Well, to be perfectly honest with you, right now, without having heard them, I feel the Deathtrap is very good as it is. Well, not perfect, certainly. I guess it could still use a little fine-tuning, but I'm not sure it needs surgery. What I ought to do, I think, is Xerox a few copies in the morning and send them off to those agents you recommended to us. Now, if they say, too, it needs major rewriting, well, I'll be coming back here begging you to do just what Mrs. Brule suggested, and I'll be willing to make whatever arrangement you think is right. The same one you had with Mr. Kaufman, I guess. I hope I haven't offended you.
Not at all.
Oh, Mr. Anderson, please,
Myra.
now agents know.
Don't. They're begging. They think he has the wealth of the Indies here, where Mr. and Mrs. Jean Lafitte.
I'd never think anything like that, Mr. Brule. I'm grateful you're willing to go out of your way to help.
Not actually. Now that I've had a moment to consider the matter, I would never decide if as timely and inventive as the drowning wife to do wet nurse work on one as speculative as Deathtrap. Do sit down, Myra. You're making me nervous standing there, hyperventilating.
No, do as you suggest. Show it to a few agents.
If you decide to major rewrite, I'm all to get in touch. Who knows? I might hit a snag. It's happened once.
Thank you.
I shall. I am having completely outlined, and I'm actually more than halfway done. Then I have another play ready to go next, based on the life of Harry Houdini.
Oh?
Yeah. Magic's very in now, you know. Look at the success of the magic show. Houdini's always been an idol of mine. These are a pair of his handcuffs. Relax, Myra. Clifford is not the kind of person who would steal someone else's idea. He wouldn't do that. There you are, you see. No cause for alarm. His heart as far from fraud as heaven from earth. A remarkable man, Houdini. Made all his own magical apparatus. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Magnificent craftsmanship. Here, have a look at these.
City, please.
Sit down, Myra.
Don't. I beg you, for God's sake.
He's an honest young man. Now, will you sit down? And stop being so all-fired suspicious of everyone who comes through that door.
We had a very nasty experience, Clifford, a few years back, involving a plagiaristic playwright, whose name I won't mention since he's gone to his maker. Recalled for repairs. Ever since, poor Myra's gotten alarmed if I so much as tell a fellow writer the language I'm working in. Don't take it personally. Have a good look at those. They're quite remarkable.
They look so old.
Yeah, they were made to and apparently solid and escape-proof.
They certainly seem that way.
Be my guest.
You mean put them on?
Yes, that's what I mean. When you're holding my prize pair of $1,200 Houdini handcuffs and I say, be my guest, put them on.
$1,200?
Now turn your wrist like this, press and pull. No, you didn't do it right. It has to be one single quick action. Try it again. Turn, press, and pull all in one.
They're not opening.
Well, they did for me yesterday morning. It's not a question of they're not being oiled.
I guess I'm just not Houdini.
It's all right. I've got the key here. Somewhere.
Don't go on fussing with those. You're liable to ruin.
Oh, sorry.
Key. Key. Key.
Where are you, little brass key?
You know, this could be a good thriller. No, it could, I mean it.
How so?
A young playwright sends his first play to an older playwright who conducted a seminar. Nobody else has read it. Then he comes to visit the older playwright to get some ideas for a rewrite. Now, he brings along the original and all his notes and everything. Of course, you'd have to have Zeros breaking down to explain why there's only 2 copies. That would be a very good play. The one the young playwright wrote, I mean. And the older playwright would have to have nothing much going for him at the time.
An enormous concatenation of unlikely circumstances.
Yes, maybe. You know, we've almost gotten here, though, haven't we? The only difference is that you've got the drowning wife and the Houdini play, and Deathtrap probably isn't worth killing for. I'll bet nobody even saw me getting into your car.
Well, there you are. You've licked the second play problem.
I think it could be turned into something fairly interesting. What do you think, Mrs.
Oh, I
Brewer?
don't like it. It frightens me.
What if I could have left it up here?
Oh, I forgot to mention, I should be getting a phone call any minute now. There's a girl who's coming to see me at 8:30. That's about what it is now, isn't it? Well, I couldn't reach her before I left, so I left a note on the hall mirror telling her where I am. And give me the phone number so she can call and find out what train I'm taking back so she can pick me up at the train station. 1 2-hour walk per day is just about enough for me. So, I hope you find that key soon or else you're going to have to hold the phone for me.
How's she going to get in to read the note?
She has a key.
You're not a very conscientious house sitter.
She's honest.
In the car, you said you didn't know anyone in Milford. Except a few tradespeople.
She's from Hartford. Her name is Myra Klinovsky. She teaches at Quirk Middle School, phys ed.
Where'd you get the number? It's not listed.
They gave it to me at the university. Along with your address, I'm friendly with Mrs. Beecham there.
Beecham?
The short, red-haired lady with the eye shape.
I hope she gave you the right number. I had it changed a few weeks back. An obscene caller was boring us, and I didn't notify old U of Com. What number did you leave for Ms. Klinovsky?
I don't remember.
226-3049 or 226-5457?
The first one, 3049.
The new number. I must have notified them and clean forgotten about it. How strange. And how untypical of me.
Would you go on and give me the key?
Certainly!
Give me my heart, I'll take it!
Don't take what, dear? My finding the key? I do believe the two of you thought I was going to grab the mace and do a Dr. Menheim, Clifford.
Is that why you've withdrawn so far upstage?
You can't write a play like that and not have a mind that envisions possibilities.
True, very true. I'm slightly paranoid myself. What's your excuse? A loyal and trusting wife. 11 years of marriage, and she thinks I'm capable of a flesh and blood murder. There's a lesson for you in that, Cliff. Here, come, handcuff yourself. Deathtrap is promising, but it's not that promising.
Glad it isn't.
No, I think your best invention so far is the name Marietta Klinovsky. That's lovely. I congratulate you.
Thank you.
I can just see the sweat on her forearms after the basketball game. Mrs. Beecham's eye shade. I thought was a bit much.
I thought that was a kind of convincing detail you told us to try for. Are you sure this is the right key?
He got 2 TV open and inside a milk can and a 10 feet of water. You mean to say...
Right on the rug. 1 point for neatness. Your heart seems to have taken it.
Well, we'll give it a rest on the Riviera after the opening.
We'll get a housekeeper again so you can take things easy, and a new car, a goddamn Rolls.
We're going to be in prison! Oh,
The young worldly playwright walks away from his house sitting job. The police won't even bother to yawn.
leaving his clothes on his typewriter!
Why not? Who consider these young people nowadays? Especially the would-be writers. Maybe you realize he wouldn't be. And he went off to preach ecology or join the Reverend Sun Myung Moon. Who knows, the place might be broken into. And poor little Smith Corona will be stolen.
What are you going to do with him?
Bury him. Behind the garage. No. In the vegetable patch. Easier digging.
Oh,
Take a brandy or something. I'm going to be a winner again.
All our dear friends are going to see you living on my money. Picture their confusion. Full moon, all right. I hope this isn't going to become a monthly practice. Do you mind helping me?
It's been done, Myra.
Don't see the point in my getting a hernia. Thank God he wasn't the fat one. Great man, the devil. I got myself a bit of a chill. Along with incipient blisters, aching arms, and small devils poking pitchforks into what I believe is my lumbago. In Murderous Child, I had Dr. Mannheim bury Teddy in 45 minutes. In future, I'll know better. Well, I don't want the hearth rug, but I saw some nice ones in the Yield House the other day. I have a feeling you're about to deliver a speech. Would you mind holding off till I poured my own brandy and sat down?
I had intended to. I have learned something in 11 years of melodrama.
Good girl. Ooh. Go.
I'd be very happy living on your money. But I don't relish the thought of living on his. I have tried to understand how you could do it, bearing in mind your disappointments and the embarrassment of our financial situation, but I can't. And how will you be able to feel like a winner when we both know it's his play? I can't understand that either. You're alien to me, Sidney, and it can't be only since 5 o'clock this afternoon. You must always have been very different from the person I thought you were. I don't think the police are going to be as unconcerned as you do, so I don't want anything to happen that will look suspicious if they
How
get
will they? He vanished from Milford. This is Westport.
They were checking with his past associations. He must have gotten your address from university, even if he did lie about the phone number.
If they do come by, I'll simply say he wrote to me, a twerpy little letter, asking for advice, and I answered it. Or maybe I just threw it away.
In a month or so, if we haven't been arrested, I want you to leave. We'll have a few arguments in people's living rooms. You can write them for us. Little tips about money or something, and then you'll move out. I wish you could take the vegetable patch with you, but since you can't, you'll buy it from me as soon as the money starts rolling in, before the Rolls Royce and before you go to the Riviera. You will buy the vegetable patch and the house and the whole 9.3 acres we were getting. But Raymond, I'm oriented to sell fair price.
Darling, you've had...
Get away from me!
Darling, you've had a shocking and painful experience. And so have I. I'm terrified I'm going to be caught. And absolutely guilt-ridden about having been insane enough to do it. I'm going to give half the money to the New Dramatists League, I swear I am. This is not the time, Myra, to talk about anything. In a few days, when we're both feeling ourselves again, things will look much cheerier.
You are yourself right now, and so am I in a few days. Well, go ahead. He wrote me a twerpy letter, officer.
It must be Lottie and Ralph come to yammer about the movie.
Come on, Helga Tendor.
Don't be silly. It's Lottie and Ralph. Come, we've got to let them in. Can you face them? Maybe you better go upstairs.
No, I'll stay right here and let you worry all apart.
Who is it?
I apologize for so late I come, but you will forgive when I make the explainings.
Yeah.
Yes, room I see. The beans and the window, like so, and the pain. That's pain. Pain, 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 pain.
Yeah, we're neither of us feeling up to something.
Also, just as I you such pain-covered things?
They're antiques and souvenirs from my plays. I'm a playwright.
Yeah, Sidney Brule. Or I'm a dancer. We make together a book.
My wife, Myra.
How do you do?
What gives you such pain, dear lady?
Well, nothing. I'm fine, really.
No. Something you see pains you. For one touch of me, I am Helga Kandor. I am psychic.
Yes, he did. In fact, we were going to ring.
Now, I feel the pain from here, and more than pain. Since 8:30, when begins the Merv Griffin show? I am on it next week, you will watch.
Yes, certainly. Yes, make it of that, Myra.
Thursday night, Peter Huggles also. What they want him for, I do not know. I called the informations, but the lady will tell me not your number. I called Paul, but he is not at home. He is in place with red balls, eating with chopsticks. I called the informations again. I say, as urgent, you must tell me number. I am Helga Tendorf, I am psychic. She say, yes, number. Only I see the 226. This is everybody, yeah? So now I come here because pain gets worse and more than pain.
More than pain.
Yeah. There's something else here. Something frightening. No, it won't interfere.
What will?
The drink you would give me must keep unclouded. The hat never drink. Only when images become too many, then I get drunk. As you sometimes by beautiful dark-haired woman, but only pretending.
That's amazing. It's from my play, The Murder Game, and it was used every night by a beautiful dark-haired actress.
It will be used again by another woman, not in play, but because of play. Because of play, another woman uses this knife. You should put away these things.
Yeah, I think I will. Sell the whole collection. I'm tired of them anyway.
May be too late. I do not enjoy to make unhappy people, but I must speak when I see something, yeah?
Well, I don't know, actually. I mean, you could keep quiet. Aren't you meant to be resting? Not in your own country because...
Must speak as my God gives gift. As danger here. Less danger to you and to you as death in this room, something that invites death, that carries death, Deathtrap. This is word in English, Deathtrap?
Yes, it is. It's, actually, the title of a play that I'm writing. That's where you're getting it from. There's a death in the play. I'm sure that's what you're responding to. I was sitting here working on the play at my desk.
Maybe, but feels like a real death.
Yeah, well, I try and make it pencil. I act out everything as I write it.
Aha! Men, young men, in boots. Here, in this room, he attacks you.
He attacks me?
What he does, comes as friend to help you, to work with you, but attacks as confusion here.
Yeah, well, I'll certainly be on the lookout for a young man in boots. We're going to be Japanese from now on. Shoes off at the door.
He's here, in this chair, and he talks of Diane.
There's a Diane in the play.
And two other people. Smith and Colonna! No, one person. Small, black
No, I've never heard that name before.
It's very confusing image here. It's gone now. Nothing else comes.
Well, that was a most impressive demonstration, wasn't it, dear? The way you picked up the title of the play and Diane and the dagger business, really awesome.
Remember what else I tell you. Dagger is used again by women because of play. And a young man in boots attacks you. Of these two things I am certain. All else, as confusion, pain is less now, yeah?
Oh, yes, there wasn't any really.
What a marvelous gift. I must confess, I've been skeptical about ESP, but you've convinced me it's genuine.
Oh, yes, it's genuine. And sometimes not happy gift to be owner of.
Have you always had it?
Since I was child, never could I enjoy a game of hide and go seek. It was too easy. Parents did not wrap Christmas presents. Why wasting paper? Later in my teenagers, walking with boys. Sex images.
Won't you have that drink now? I'd very much like to talk with you.
No, thank you. I must go back to house. You will come and take dinner with me sometime? I will tell you all my life. What make very good play. When child, you are living in large house with yellow shutters, yeah?
That's right, yes.
Always, when moon is full, I am in top form. Good night, good night. Be careful. You also?
Yes, I intend to. No boots allowed. Good night.
Remember, Thursday night, no cribbing show.
Well, if that's the best she can do, we've got nothing to worry about.
I'm not afraid of the danger she saw.
Not especially.
We're going to be
I
arrested.
don't see how. If the police do come by and do bring her into it, which hardly seems likely, well, what of it? She'll have them combing the tri-state area for a small black boy with 2 spools of ribbon. One here, going through his mouth.
She saw him sitting there. She heard him speaking.
But she had the main point backwards. There's nothing to worry about. I'll boil that thing in the morning or throw it into the garbage and that'll be the end of it. In a week or so, this'll all be behind us. Myra, I couldn't help myself. I saw that play going out into the world tomorrow morning and him sitting there so young, so lucky. Don't decide yet about kicking the old boy out. And please, I beg you, don't entertain thoughts of using the dagger. Other confused images, I'm sure. Though if we do decide to get a housekeeper, I want her to have terrifically good references.
Sell the collection.
Yeah, probably I should. I will. Not immediately, though. It looked too suspicious. Amazing, isn't it? 18 years. And Tanya's aura still permeates.
Put it away somewhere.
Exit dagger into desk.
Part of me was hoping you would do it. At the same time that I was terrified you would, part of me was hoping I saw the money too in your name.
You tried to stop me. You did your best. It was my doing and mine only. If anything should go wrong, there must never be any confusion whatsoever on that point. But nothing will go wrong. In a week or so, we'll be celebrating. Leading producer, Options new Sidney Brule thriller. Successful playwrights admit envy. Let's lock up and turn in. Is it possible? Murder is an aphrodisiac. What a blow that would be to importers of ginseng root. Not to mention the Department of Health. less. I've got news for you. Styrofoam hurts. You use it a hell of a lot harder than you did in the motel.
The added adrenaline of the actual performance. You didn't make the strangling a jolly experience. Hey, what about that Helga 10 door?
Oh, God.
I nearly had a heart attack myself out there.
Same here.
It's spooky the way she saw I was going to attack you.
Yeah, she was a bit off base, though. She had you doing it with one of the weapons.
That must have been the garrote getting mixed in.
Yeah, it's very confusing image.
How did you know? Actually, it's just as well she did come by. Now she'll be telling everyone she felt the physical pain of the oncoming heart attack. Every little bit helps. I've been telling people for days that Myra was under the weather. Not that any supporting evidence is needed, really.
I better get my things in.
No, there's no rush. I'm not going to call the doctor for a few minutes yet. We don't want them working any miracles of resuscitation, do we?
What if Madame Tendrop comes back?
I don't see why she should. The pain's stopped, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yes, I hadn't thought of that.
Hey, don't walk around so much, you're treading dirt. I bet you were glad to hear my exit dagger line.
That was that for my benefit?
Of course. I was going to suggest putting it away myself if she didn't. I was afraid the prediction might have made you a bit uneasy. I had visions of you herring off into the woods, leaving me with a live wife, an imaginary corpse, and no surefire can't-miss thriller to justify the one to the other.
I'd never have done that.
All right. I just thought I'd relieve any possible anxiety. I don't think I'd better burn these now. It'll take too long.
Why burn them at all? They're just old manuscripts.
True, we could cut them up and use the backs for scrap. Oh, it's so chintzy, though. What the hell? I'll say I was cleaning out my files when the Grim Reaper struck.
The closer you say the truth, the better off you are.
You're a fount of homey wisdom, Clifford boy.
Farewell, Deathtrap.
Would that you were the genuine article.
We can put my desk right here.
Now I've got a surprise for you.
Let me guess. I work in the maid room.
Would I do that to you? No, you're going to work right here in the handsomely converted stable as promised.
And what's the surprise?
You'll see after the obsequies. I hope you won't mind Zenobia here tearing along at full speed. I really am going to try something on ESP. That was an enormously impressive demonstration she gave, despite the mistakes.
Well, I'm ready to get to work too.
What, the thing you mentioned at the seminar?
No, I've got an even better idea. Last week when I was cleaning out my desk, I suddenly realized that there's a play there. In a typical urban welfare office.
Thriller?
Oh, no. Truth is, I've begun to lose interest in thrillers. I want to try something more honest, more relevant.
Even though you use those words, I'm still going to let you stay. Here, get your things.
Right.
I'm going to call the doctor now.
Is he there? City Brew. B-R-U-H-L. Will you have him call me as soon as possible, please? It's urgent. My wife's had a heart attack.
No, I'm afraid there'll be no use in that.
226-3049.
And left the weights for tomorrow and the typewriter.
Oh, yeah, little Mr. Colonna.
Was that wasn't it? On his way?
Answering service.
Well, see you later. How long do you think it'll be?
Oh, a couple of hours at least. I don't know. I might have to go with her.
Watch out.
Chow, Cliff, the floor up there creaks badly, so do a quick wash up and get into bed. And, stay there.
I'll buy that.
Hello? Yeah, a bad one. I gave her mouth-to-mouth resuscitation for 10 to 15 minutes, but it's no good. That's nothing. She's been under the weather the past few days. I wanted to call you.
That must have been quite a welfare office.
Oh, it was. Everyone had a poignant story. They're creating the play of their own accord.
No notes? No outline?
This isn't a thriller, Sidney. It's not dependent on intricate plotting and contrived theatrics. These are real people. All I'm doing is bringing them on and letting them spill out their dreams and frustrations, their anger at the bureaucracy.
Joe Pack will have a messenger at the door any minute.
You know, I was thinking of him as a possible producer, do you know?
Yeah, I do, sir. And see if you pay.
Sure, if I do. I'd really rather wait till the draft is done. Give you the whole thing in one glorious bundle, would you mind?
Of course not. What's another hour or so?
Gonna take 3 or 4 weeks, I think.
At the rate you're going, you'll have a trilogy by then.
Nothing doing.
I'm thinking.
But why don't you invite her over? Hell, get time to go. I'm talking with her might spark something.
Think we should risk having her on the premises?
Maybe not when the moon is full. Why not? Look at the eggs she laid on the Merv Griffin show.
Why, she got rattled by Peter Herkos when he described all her husbands in such detail.
Oh, Belle Forrester called before he came down. Wanted to know if she could bring over a casserole. When it comes Saul Button, I told her we were managing just fine.
We don't want to break the flow, do we? Porter, come on in. It's good to see you.
How are you, Sid?
I'm doing fairly well, thank you.
There are a couple of things I want to talk to you about. Am I disturbing you?
Not at all. Glad I had a chance to take a drink. How come you're not in the city?
Well, I have to be in New Haven this afternoon. The secretary?
Yeah.
Myra?
Yes, he is. Can you come and meet him? Clifford, this is Clifford Anderson. This is my friend Porter Milgrom.
How do you do?
How do you do, sir?
I would say my attorney, but then he would bill me.
I'm going to anyway. This is a business call, partly at least.
Clifford was at the seminar I conducted last July. He asked me then about a secretarial position. When Myra passed on, I realized I'd need someone to lend a hand, so I called him. Next day, here he was.
That typewriter will travel.
That was very good of you.
Oh, it's a privilege to be of help to someone like Mr. Brule.
Oh, look at that. Isn't this a beauty?
Partner's desk.
Where did you find it?
In Wilton. I just happened on it last week. Makes more sense than cluttering up the room with 2 single ones.
Costs a pretty penny out there.
Well, it's deductible.
Yes, they can't very well quibble about a writer's desk, can they? Wait till Elizabeth sees this.
How is she?
Oh, fine.
And the girl?
It couldn't be better. Kathy loves Vassar.
And vice versa, I'm sure. Sit down.
Shall I go get the groceries now? Then you and Mr. Milgrom can talk in private.
Yeah, would you mind?
I've got to do it sometime before dinner. I might as well.
All right. I'll be with you in a moment, Porter.
Oh, take your time. I haven't started the clock yet. I love this room.
Isn't it nice? It's a pleasure working here.
He's looking well.
Yes, he's picked up quite a bit in the past few days. It was pretty bad the first week. He cried every night. I could hear him plainly, and he was drinking heavily.
Oh.
But he'll pull through. His work is a great solace to him.
Yeah, I'm sure it must be. I've always envied my writer clients on that account. I tried to write a play once.
Oh?
About the Supreme Court Justice I most admire. Even the title was a problem. Frankfurter.
You want to eat some salad things? And milk, I'm going to Gibson's.
Pick up some yogurt, too. Anything but prune.
Oh, you're not in the driveway, are you?
No, I pulled over on the side.
Well, see you later. Or nice meeting you, whichever it turns out to be.
Well, I'm sure we'll be seeing each other again. Pleasant young fellow. Good looking, too.
Yeah. Do you think he's gay? Homosexual?
Well, I know what gay means, Sidney. Elizabeth told me long ago. No, he didn't strike me that way.
I have a sneaking suspicion he might be. Still, as long as he does his job well, I suppose it's not really my business, is it?
Well, in essence, he's a domestic employee. And I think in such circumstances, his sexual preference could be a legitimate matter of concern.
I wasn't asking for a legal opinion. I was simply saying it's not really my business, is it?
Oh, well, in that case, no, it isn't.
Besides, people would talk if I took in a female secretary, wouldn't they?
If she were under 80.
That's what I thought, so I called Clifford.
I'm glad to see you looking so well. That's the main reason I've come. I was delegated by Elizabeth and the Wessons and the Harveys. That young man has been discouraging all callers. We were afraid you might be in worse shape than he was letting on. Well, obviously, that's not the case.
No, I'm not up to socializing yet, but I'm coming through. The work is a great solace to me.
What do you want to know?
A play about ESP. Helga Tendorf is in the McBain cottage, you know.
Yes, I do. Tell me, is it true what everyone's saying? That she, do you mind talking about this?
No, not at all. Go ahead.
Is it true she actually pointed to the spot on the floor where Myra was going to fall?
No, nothing like that. Nothing at all like that. No. All she did was she came in here and she said there is pain, great pain, in this lady's chest. And poor Myra said, there is slight pain. And she said, still with your history, you really ought to see your doctor. Which is precisely what I'd been telling Myra for days.
It's uncanny, being able to sense things that way. I would think you'd be able to write a very fine thriller on the subject.
It's coming along. Business time?
Yes. The first item on the agenda is your will. Now that Myra's gone, you ought to look it over. As it stands, if anything should happen to you, your cousins in Vancouver would inherit. Do you want to leave it that way?
I don't know. I'll have to think about that.
Well, don't put it off. And this is the second item. It's only approximate because I don't have up-to-date appraisals on the real estate yet. But that's roughly what you can anticipate, give or take a few $1,000s.
I didn't know there was this much.
Well, then Myra must have been keeping a few secrets. She knew her records were in apple pie order.
How much of this is the government going to grab?
Well, not too much. Really, the first $250,000 of that is exempt from federal taxes. And the state tax, which starts at $50,000, is only a few percent. Oh, there's one more point, Sidney. I was talking to Maury Escher at the planning board meeting last night. He told me you spoke to him about selling off a few acres.
Well, I'm not sure I will now.
Yeah, well, you can't. Not yet, anyway. You'll have to wait till the will goes through probate.
I know that. I simply asked him how much he thought I could get.
Oh, then he was jumping the gun. Well, I want to make sure you were clear on the point. End of business. You've gotten off cheap.
Yeah, I'm lucky.
What's the procedure? You dictate and he type?
No, I do my own typing. I'll have him retype the finished product, of course, and he does the letters.
Is that what he was doing before? Letters?
No, a play of his own.
The seminar, of course.
Started it yesterday. Probably finish it tomorrow.
I hope he's not stealing your ESP idea. Have you discussed it with him?
Why? What makes you say that?
He locked what he was working on into the drawer. Unobtrusively. But I noticed. Then again, he might be afraid you'll steal his idea.
The life in a welfare office, the dreams and frustrations of half a dozen people you just as soon not spend an evening with.
He's worked in a welfare office?
Yeah, that's what he was doing.
Well, it might only be force of habit then, but people in large offices often lock their desks.
Unobtrusively? Just the reverse, I think. Hey, everybody, look, I'm locking my desk.
Well, this simply be his way of doing things. I'm sorry if I worried you. The suspicious legal mind. No, probably he's exactly what he seems. An honest and helpful young man, completely trustworthy.
Probably.
I better get moving. I'm going to be in New Haven by noon. Trustees luncheon. And old Eli. Thanks. Oh, has the check from the insurance company come in?
No, it hasn't.
Well, I'll write them a letter first thing in the morning.
Thanks, Porter. I'd appreciate that.
Will you come have dinner with me?
In a week or so, I think I'll be ready to face the world again.
Good enough. Take care.
And you give my love to Elizabeth.
I will.
And the girl.
Shit.
Come on, you bastard. Goddamned old world craftsman. Oh my God. Feces.
That was quick. Only went to Gibson.
Here, give me. I'll put them away.
That's all right, I don't mind.
Come on, you shocked. I'll put away. Get back to the welfare office.
God forbid.
Changing the ball.
The avocado is supposed to be organic.
Where are you? Ah, there you are. I thought you hadn't heard, so I came round. Need those Olympic fingers.
Beer now?
Yeah. Had a sudden mad craving, as in the commercials. I'm sorry, I shook it up a bit.
You can use an opener on these.
Really?
Sure, doesn't it say so?
Who do they expect to read this? Roaches? You've lost interest in thrillers, huh? No taste for the intricate plotting and the glib, superficial characters. You want to do something real and meaningful, socially relevant.
Hey, cut it out, will you? Your ideal start coming.
Possibly.
Just relax. And don't try to bug me. It'll come.
Deathtrap. A thriller in 2 acts. Characters. Julian Crane. Doris Crane. Willard Peterson. Inga van Bronk. The action takes place in Julian Crane's study in the Crane home.
Jesus. In Westport, Connecticut.
Stealing my
Julian
favorite.
Crane's study is a handsomely converted stable. Grafted onto an authentic colonial house. Sliding doors, upstage center, open on a foyer. In which are the house's front door, entrances to the living room and kitchen, and the stairway to the second floor. French doors, upstage right, open out to a shrubbery-flanked patio. Downstage left is a fieldstone fireplace, practical to the extent that paper can be burned in it. The room's furnishings are tastefully chosen antiques. A few chairs and occasional pieces. A buffet downstage right with liquor decanters. And the focus of the room, Julian's desk. You remember Julian's desk, don't you? The one he worked at before he took crazy Willard Peterson into his home. Patterned draperies hang at the French doors. The room is decorated with framed theatrical posters, unlike these, which are window cards. Not posters! And a collection of guns, handcuffs, maces, broadswords, and battle axes. Several of which I'm going to make use of any minute now.
Oh, that's it? You're not going to act out. You're not going to make. Would you like me to explain?
What's to explain? You're a lunatic with a death wish. Freud covered it thoroughly.
I have exactly the same wish you have, a success wish.
Oh, really? This is going to bring you success.
It hit me that night. Remember I put in the extra speech while you were looking for the key? It can be a terrific thriller.
In which someone like me and someone like you give someone like Myra a fatal heart attack.
Yes, at the end of Act 1.
What, pray tell, is your definition of success? Being gang-banged in the shower room of the state penitentiary?
I knew you would have reservations about it. My first instinct was to say it wasn't even a thriller. I have enjoyed putting you on City. I'm glad it's out in the open.
Oh, you knew I'd have a reservation.
What do, don't you?
The house madman is writing a play that will throw both of us into prison.
It won't!
I'm standing here terrified, petrified, horrified, stupefied, cramping my pants. And he calls that having reservations. I'm not going to use one of those on you. I'm going to beat you to death with Roger's thesaurus.
There is no possible way for anyone to prove what did or did not cause Myra's heart attack. Look, if I could change things, I would, but I can't. It has to be a playwright, because who else can pretend to receive a finished work that could make tons of money?
A novelist? A composer? Why am I discussing this?
A surefire smash hit symphony? No. And would a novelist or composer know where to get a garrote that squirts blood, or how to stage a convincing murder? And it has to be a playwright who writes thrillers, because Arthur Miller probably has old sample cases hanging on his walls. I suppose I can make it Wilton instead of...
Why make it anywhere? Why make it?
It's there, Sidney!
That's mountains, not plays. Plays aren't there until some asshole writes them.
Stop and think for a minute. Will you just think about that night now? Try to see it all from the audience's viewpoint. Everything we did to convince Myra that she was seeing a real murder would have the same effect on them. Weren't we giving a play? Didn't we write it, rehearse it? Wasn't she our audience? Scene 1. Julian tells Doris about this terrific play that's come in the mail. He jokes about killing for it. Then he calls up Willard and invites him over, getting him to bring the original. Well, the audience thinks just what Doris thinks. Julian might kill Willard. Scene 2. Everything that happened from the moment we walked through that door. All the little ups and downs we put in to make it ring true, the I'm expecting a phone call bit, everything. Well, tightened up a little bit, naturally. Then the strangling, which scares the audience as much as it does Doris.
No wonder you didn't need an outline.
Well, it's all up here, every bit of it. Scene 3. Inga Van Bronk. A few laughs, right? Can't hurt. Then, Julian and Doris are getting ready to go upstairs. Now, it looks as if the act is drawing to a kind of a so-so close, and pow! In comes Willard out of the grave, seeking vengeance. Shock, surprise, Doris has her heart attack. Julian gets up from the fake beating. The audience realizes that Julian and Willard are in cahoots. There is no surefire thriller that Willard is moving in, and the curtain is Julian burning the manuscript. Or calling the doctor, I'm not sure which now, be honest about it. Isn't that a surefire first act?
Yeah. There was an intermission. 20 years to life.
No one can prove it really happened. They can't. How can they?
What do you say to the man from the Times when he says, don't you work for Sidney Brew, and didn't his wife have a heart attack just around the time you came there?
No comment. I know it's going to be a little sticky, but well, everyone's opening up about everything these days, aren't they? In print, on TV. Why not the stage as long as it can't be proved? Look, I've given it some serious thought, Sidney, and I honestly think it'll help the play. Give it that added dimension of intriguing gossip.
Oh, I'm sure you're right. I can just see the little box in New York magazine now. Tongues are wagging about interesting similarities between events in the new play Deathtrap and the private lives of its author, Clifford Anderson, and his employer, Sidney Brew, who committed suicide on opening night. Queried, Mr. Anderson said, no comment. I have a comment, Cliff. No. Absolutely, definitely no. I have a name and a reputation. Tattered, perhaps, but still valid for dinner invitations, house seats, and the conducting of summer seminars. I want to live out my days as author of the murder game, not fag who knocked off his wife. A fieldstone fireplace. Let's see if it's practical to the extent that paper can be burned.
Don't you dare! If you burn that, I'll go out of here and write it again somewhere else. I'll get a house-sitting job. Give it to me, Sidney. Give it. I helped you kill for the chance to become what I want to be. You're not going to take it away from me. I had hoped that when I showed you the finished draft, you'd be impressed enough to get over your Angel Street uptightness and pitch in. But I guess we can forget about that.
A collaboration?
It's mostly your idea, isn't it? I'm not pretending it's all my baby. I know scene 1 is coming out a little heavy and stilted. I hoped we could be a team. Rule and Anderson.
Rogers and Heartless.
Now, you see, I could never come up with something like that.
I'm sorry, but I don't feel like collaborating on my public humiliation.
Next season's hit. Don't say I didn't ask. I think maybe I better move out anyway.
Why?
Helga Tendorf said a woman was going to use that dagger because of a play. Maybe she wasn't that far off target.
Don't be silly. I love you. I wouldn't think of trying to hurt you. Besides, you'd break my neck.
Goddamn right I would.
So, don't talk about leaving.
I don't know. I'm not going to feel comfortable with you being unhappy about this.
Well, I'll whistle a lot. I don't know. Maybe I am being Old-fashioned and uptight.
Come on. These days, geez, who cares about anything?
I could certainly use half the royalties of a good solid hit.
I think there's a movie in it, too.
Porter just brought me the figures from Myra's estate. It's even less than I thought. $22,000. Half of that goes in taxes. Of course, there's the house and the land. I can't sell any acreage until the will goes through probate. He says that's going to take 2 or 3 years. The insurance money isn't all that much.
But the offer's still open.
It did cross my mind that afternoon that the playing the male thing would make a terrific first scene, really.
It's your idea, Sidney. All I did was help with some of the details. Pretty neat the way you managed it.
I tried breaking in, but this damn thing's like a fortress. Porter noticed you locking up. I was afraid you were doing something on ESP.
I thought I was being so inconspicuous.
He's sharp. Dull, but sharp. I'll do it. Let people talk. I'll blush all the way to the bank.
You mean it?
Brule and Anderson.
Great! We'll make it well now.
I'll leave it west for the hell with it.
Jesus, just think of it. Me, Clifford Anderson, collaborating with Sidney Brule.
That's from Act 1.
Now, Act 2's gonna be a problem.
How so?
Well, we've got the murder in Act 1. 2 murders, in effect, Act 2's liable to be a letdown.
Not necessarily.
We'll bring in a detective, of course. The 5th character. Oh, I was thinking of the Connecticut version of the one in Dial M.
Inspector Hubbard.
Yeah. Oh, and Inga Van Bronco, I think, again. A good comic character like that. Be foolish not to make the most of it.
You go on drafting Act 1. Let me do a little thinking about Act 2.
His secretary, Clifford Anderson.
I am Helga Tendor. I am psychic.
I know. Mr. Brule's told me about you. I understand you predicted his wife's death.
Yeah, it was very sad. Matt's pain right here. Such a nice lady. Ach, this Brule. He is well, Mr. Brule?
Oh, yes, fine. He went out to dinner tonight. The first time since, well, you know, he said he'd be back by 10 and it's around 1:15 now.
Will be big storm, met wind and rain, thunder and lightning, trees will fall.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it was on radio. I come to borrow pamphlets I've known in house. You have?
Gee, I don't know. I haven't noticed any. But there must be some. I'll go look. Why don't you have a seat?
Thank you. You wear boots?
Everyone does these days. They're very comfortable.
You are for a long time secretary to Mr. Brule?
Oh, no. I just came here about 3 weeks ago. After Mrs. Brule died. I'll go see if I can find those candles for you now.
Oh, hi, what's the rule?
Here.
Oh, hello. Good evening, Mr. Brule.
How are you?
Fine.
Did you get my note?
Yeah, thank you.
Yours was most kind, and the flowers.
Do we have any candles? There's a storm coming up, and Mrs. Tendorf wants to borrow some.
Yeah, I think we have some somewhere. I believe Myra kept them over the refrigerator. If they're not there, then on the shelf on the landing. A great cardboard box.
I saw you on the Merv Griffin show. Say goodnight. What is it?
This man I warned you of. Man in boots, what attacks you?
Oh my God! In all the turmoil of Myra's death, I completely forgot about that warning.
As he candles on fire, I come have many candles, but tonight I feel here danger again, and in this room is feeling very strong. You should not have him here.
Do you know, I made up my mind just tonight to dismiss him. I was discussing the matter with my lawyer. I became uneasy about him last week, so I asked my lawyer to check him out in Hartford.
Ah! Smith Corona! Yes?
Yeah. Yes.
But naturally, Corona, not Colonna. Ah, this is why I see on that man's face, Cuverti-Uia. You must send this man away tonight.
I was going to give him his notice at any rate, and I certainly will not put it off. Now you've come and warned me about him a second time. You are positive you saw him attacking me?
Was like image on TV, so sharp.
Come in, Clifford.
Thank you. I take two.
You're welcome to take more.
No, two are enough.
It's really blowing up out there.
Yeah, sometimes they are right with their predictions. I should say, no need to.
I hope you beat the rain.
I go through what? As last to walk. Good night.
Good night. It's pitch black out there. Are you sure you'll find your way?
Yeah, I have thought so.
Good night.
Ah!
What's wrong?
My daughter is pregnant. So many years they try, so many doctors they go to, and now at last they make me grandmother. Got duck. Oh, I must call and tell them.
I told you I'm the man that proves who attacks you. Yeah. I noticed the look before you came in. Did you tell her I used a styrofoam log and not one of the weapons?
No. I didn't think that quite advisable. I told her you're giving me karate lessons, and that we're attacking each other all over the place. The closer you stay to the truth, the better off you are.
I finished that one.
Did you? Your evening was better spent than mine.
I ended it with Julian on the phone.
How can I go on without her?
He wants the doctor to think he's upset, doesn't he?
Yeah. Your dialogue may be a bit Tin Pan Alley, but your timing couldn't be better. I've got Act 2 ready to go.
Terrific!
That is, I think I do. There are two bits of business I'm not absolutely sure will work. We'll try. And if they do, I'll give you the whole thing, scene by scene. It's full of surprises.
I can't wait to hear.
You better go and check the windows upstairs. It sounds like we're getting hurricanes and alleys through Zelda.
How many scenes are there?
3, same as in Act 1. I like that sort of symmetry.
All right, you're in the final scene, back to back, as it were. Willard has spilled the beans, and our Connecticut version of Inspector Hubbard has come to beard Julian in his den. Julian, quite berserk, shoots the inspector in the left arm. But there's only one bullet in the gun, so now he's trying to get to the upstage wall in order to grab a weapon and finish the job. Question number one is, can a one-armed inspector, in otherwise good condition, stop a two-armed middle-aged playwright from going where he wants? The answer had better be no. Let's try. He, Julian, you have it. Right about there, okay?
Okay, left arm out of commission.
Yeah, all right. Okay, let's go. Oh! Well, you've got to try harder than that.
Some look convincing, I think.
Not even to a theatre party. Now, come on. Give it a good try. A good one. Over! Well, maybe you better be Julian.
I'm afraid I tear your shirt.
Cliff, dear, we're trying to become rich and famous. Let's not let a 5-year-old shirt stand in the way, okay?
Couldn't we just let the director and actors work it out?
That's not the way professional playwrights operate. Dum-dum. Professional playwrights don't offer a script until they're absolutely sure that everything in it is playable. and doable.
Now, come on! Let's show them why Brule and Anderson are going to go down in theatrical history. Come on, a real good one. Ah, yes, that's good. Hey! Whoa! Yeah. It works!
Look at your shirt. Gee, I scratched your neck.
I'll survive. Second bit now. Much less strenuous and very brief.
I'm glad of that.
I'm Hubbard now, and you're Julian. Go to the wall. Take this. No, it doesn't look natural that way.
Feels natural.
Well, try it a different way.
Doesn't feel right this way.
All right, go back to the way you had it. Put it down.
On the floor!
Now stand very still. We have goodbyes to say. Deathtrap is over. We're now in the theatre verite.
Gun it from gunpoint.
No blanks, as at the dear old Lyceum, no real bullets. Courtesy of Messrs. Remington. I loaded it last night after you were asleep. I really don't want that plane. Even though nothing can be proved, too much will be talked about, and I'm a little too old, and yes, uptight, to join the Washington secretaries and the ex-lovers of ex-presidents and the happy hookers and the happily hooked in the National Bad Taste Exposition. And I honestly can't think of any other way to make sure that you won't set me up